My millionaire grandpa asked. Hope you're enjoying the car I gave you? At Easter brunch. I paused, then looked at my dad and discovered he sold the car to pay for her mistress' trip to Hawaii. Welcome back, beautiful people. Before we begin, subscribe and tell us in the comments where you're tuning in from. We love seeing this community grow worldwide. The fork froze halfway to my mouth when Grandpa Bernard's voice cut through the Easter brunch chatter. So Marissa, how's that Lexus treating you? Still running smooth? His eyes sparkled with that special warmth he reserved for moments when he thought he'd changed someone's life. My stomach dropped like I'd swallowed concrete. The dining room suddenly felt too small, too hot, the smell of honey glazed ham turning my appetite to ash. I glanced at my father, Christopher, whose knife scraped loudly against his plate. He didn't look up. My mother, Lillian, reached for her mimosa with trembling fingers. My younger brother, Logan, 17 and usually glued to his phone, actually lifted his head, sensing blood in the water. Grandpa, my voice cracked. 23 years old, fresh out of college with a biology degree and drowning in student loans, and I couldn't even form a coherent sentence. The Lexus. The beautiful midnight blue Lexus ES 350 that Grandpa had promised me for graduation. The car I'd never seen, never touched, never driven. What's wrong, baby girl? Grandpa Bernard leaned forward, his weathered brown hands gripping the table edge. At 78 he'd built his fortune from nothing. A janitorial service that became a commercial cleaning empire. He knew every shade of human deception which made lying to him impossible. My sister Alea, 25 and perpetually smug, smirked from across the table. She knew something. They all knew something. The silence stretched like taffy, sticky and suffocating, until I couldn't breathe through it anymore. I never got the car, Grandpa. Grandpa Bernard wasn't just wealthy, he was intentional about it. Every dollar he gave came with a story, a lesson, a purpose. When I turned 16, he didn't hand me cash for a used Honda like my friends got. Instead, he made me volunteer at his company every summer, learning the value of work. Money you earn stays with you, he'd say, his calloused hands sorting through invoices. Money you're given? That flies away like smoke. He'd promised the Lexus 2 years ago at my college graduation party. I remembered every detail. The backyard filled with purple and gold balloons, my university colors, the way his arm felt around my shoulders as he pulled me aside. Your mama told me you got into that graduate program at the medical school. Marissa, baby, I'm so proud I could burst. You're going to be a doctor, first one in our family. I'd corrected him gently. Physician assistant program, Grandpa. Not quite a doctor, but... Don't you diminish yourself, he'd interrupted, finger pointed at my chest. You're going to heal people. That's what matters. And you need reliable transportation for those hospital rotations. I already talked to my guy at the dealership. Midnight blue, leather interior, all the safety features. It'll be ready in 6 weeks. 6 weeks came and went. Then 2 months. 3. When I asked my father about it, he'd waved me off. Pops is handling it. You know how he is with paperwork. Just be patient. So I'd waited, taking the bus to my clinical rotations, watching classmates pull into parking lots with their functioning vehicles while I planned my life around transit schedules. Now 8 months later, the truth sat at this Easter table like an unwelcome guest. What do you mean you never got the car? Grandpa's voice dropped to that dangerous quiet that meant someone was about to catch hell. His gaze swiveled to my father like a hawk spotting prey. Christopher, I gave you $48,000 in July. Cashier's check. You deposited it, I saw the bank statement. My father's dark skin had gone ashen. Pops, it's complicated. Complicated. I heard my own voice rising, 8 months of confusion crystallizing into fury. You told me it was coming. Every time I asked, you said it was being detailed or the dealership had paperwork issues or... My hands shook so badly I had to grip the table edge. Where's my car, Dad? Mom touched my arm. Marissa, sweetheart, lower your voice. We have guests. Guests. I yanked my arm away. Aunt Carol and Uncle James are family, and they deserve to know what kind of man sits at this table. I turned back to my father, something feral uncaging in my chest. Where is my car? Logan whistled low. Oh snap. Alea's smirk had vanished. Even she hadn't expected this level of nuclear detonation. Aunt Carol set down her wine glass with a soft click that seemed deafening. Uncle James cleared his throat, looking anywhere but at my father's face. Grandpa Bernard stood up slowly, his 6-foot frame still imposing despite his age. Christopher Elijah Howard. I asked you a simple question. What happened to the money I gave you for Marissa's car? My father's jaw clenched. A muscle twitched in his temple. When he finally spoke, his voice was barely above a whisper. I had expenses. Expenses. Grandpa repeated the word like it tasted rotten. What kind of expenses cost $48,000, Christopher? Grandpa's question hung in the air like smoke before a fire alarm. My father said nothing, but my mother made a sound. A small, wounded noise that made my blood run cold. That's when I noticed her eyes weren't on Dad. They were fixed on Alea, and my sister's face had gone carefully blank. Too blank. The kind of expressionless mask you wear when you're hiding something big. Alea. My voice came out steady, which surprised me because inside I was screaming. You knew about this. I can see it on your face. Stay out of this, Marissa, she snapped, but her eyes darted to Dad, then away. No, baby sister, you're going to tell me right now what you know, or so help me. He took Angela to Hawaii. The words exploded from my mother like she'd been holding them underwater and they'd finally burst to the surface. Her mascara was running, black tears tracking down her cheeks. In December. First-class tickets, 5-star resort, the whole 9 yards. $25,000 for a 2-week vacation with his whore. The room went nuclear silent. Even Logan's phone clattered to the table, forgotten. Lillian, Dad started, but Mom was on her feet now. Don't you Lillian me. I've been quiet for 3 years while you paraded that woman around like I was too stupid to notice. But stealing from our daughter. Her voice broke. Stealing from your own child to impress your mistress? What kind of man does that? I couldn't breathe. Angela. The name rang familiar bells in my memory. Dad's work colleague, who'd started appearing at company functions 2 years ago. Pretty, 32, always too friendly with my father. You knew. I turned to Alea, everything clicking into horrible place. You knew he took her to Hawaii. You've known this whole time and you said nothing. My sister lifted her chin, defiant. It wasn't my place to. Your place. The laugh that came out of me sounded unhinged even to my own ears. I'm your sister, Aya. I've been riding the bus in the rain for 8 months. I missed a clinical rotation last month because 3 buses broke down and I couldn't get to the hospital on time. I almost got dropped from the program. My vision blurred with rage tears. And you knew why. Dad said he'd handle it, Aya muttered, but there was something else in her voice. Something guilty that went beyond just keeping quiet. Grandpa Bernard's eyes narrowed. Marie Howard, what else did you get from that money? The silence that followed was damning. Logan broke it with a bitter laugh. Oh, this is rich. Sis, you didn't. Dad needed help with some expenses, Alea said quickly, too quickly. He gave me $5,000 to cover my credit cards because I'd been helping him with certain situations. Helping him lie to Mom, you mean? Logan interjected, disgust dripping from every word. I heard you on the phone with him in January. You were giving him tips on how to hide charges from her. I stared at my sister like I'd never seen her before. He paid you. He paid you $5,000 of my money to help him cheat on Mom. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like, Alea? Grandpa's voice cracked like a whip. Explain to me how it wasn't exactly like that. She couldn't. None of them could. My father sat there, a 50-year-old man caught in a web of his own making. I want every detail. Grandpa Bernard pulled out his phone, fingers moving with surprising agility. Christopher, I'm calling my accountant right now. We're going to track every penny of that $48,000. Every single penny. Pops, please. Dad's composure was cracking, voice pitching higher. Can we discuss this privately? Privately. Grandpa's laugh was bitter. You stole from my granddaughter publicly enough. We'll air it publicly too. Marissa deserves to know exactly how her future got redistributed. Uncle James spoke up quietly. Bernard, I can pull some financial records if you need them. I still have access to. James, you stay out of this, Dad snapped, but there was panic in his eyes now. No, James, please help, I said, surprised by the steel in my own voice. I want to know everything. Mom had collapsed back into her chair, silent tears streaming. Aunt Carol moved beside her, arm around her shoulders. The sight of my mother, usually so composed, so dignified in her church suits and perfect makeup, now falling apart, it hardened something in me. Turned grief into something sharp and useful. Logan pulled out his laptop. I've been tracking some stuff too. Dad doesn't know I can see his credit card statements because I set up his online banking and he never changed the password. He typed rapidly. Hawaii flights and hotel. That's the $25K Mom mentioned. But there's more. A diamond bracelet from Tiffany's in August. $7,000. A weekend in Atlantic City in September. $4,000. Rent payments to an apartment complex on the east side. Rent payments. Mom's head snapped up. Christopher, did you rent that woman an apartment? The look on Dad's face was all the answer she needed. How long? My mother's voice had gone flat, emotionless, which was somehow worse than the crying. How long have you been paying for her apartment, Christopher? 2 years, Logan supplied, eyes still on his screen. $1,600 a month. That's $38,400 over 2 years. I did the math in my head, my biology degree actually useful for something besides identifying organs. So you've spent roughly $75,000 on her in 2 years. My car was just the latest withdrawal from the Angela Fund. Marissa, you don't understand, Dad tried, but I cut him off. No, you're right, I don't understand. Help me understand, Dad. Explain how you justified this. I leaned forward, mimicking his posture from 1,000 childhood lectures about responsibility and integrity. You taught me that character is what you do when nobody's watching. So what does it say about your character that you stole from your own daughter? I was going to replace it. When? The word came out sharp as a slap. When were you going to replace $48,000, Dad? You make good money, sure, but not casually replace a Lexus while funding your mistress's lifestyle, money. Grandpa Bernard set his phone down. My accountant's reviewing everything. But Christopher, I need to hear it from you. Why did you think this was acceptable? My father looked around the table, at his wife, his father, his children, his brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and found no allies. Even Alea was studying her plate like it held the secrets of the universe. I was in love, he finally said. Mom made a sound like she'd been gut-punched. But I just laughed, cold and empty. I remembered the day I'd called Dad crying. October, 3 months after graduation. I'd been offered a position at a prestigious hospital's physician assistant program, but I'd need reliable transportation for rotating shifts. Dad, I can't keep taking the bus. I missed an interview because of the schedule. Please, what's happening with the car? Can we at least look at something used? I've saved $3,000 from my work study. He'd been annoyed. I could hear it in his voice. Marissa, I told you Pops is handling it. Stop being impatient. Good things come to those who wait. You sound entitled right now, and I didn't raise you to be entitled. He'd called me entitled for asking about a gift his father had already paid for. A gift he'd stolen and spent on another woman. The memory burned through me like acid. You remember that conversation, Dad? I asked quietly. Everyone's attention swiveled to me. October 15th. I called you crying because I'd missed a job interview. You told me I sounded entitled. You said you didn't raise me that way. His eyes dropped to the table. But you'd already spent the money by then, hadn't you? The Hawaii trip was in December, but you'd already moved $20,000 into other places. The bracelet. The apartment rent. You'd already decided that Angela's comfort mattered more than my future. My voice cracked. And instead of being honest, you made me feel guilty for asking. I'm sorry, Marissa. No, you're not sorry. You're caught. There's a difference. I turned to Grandpa Bernard. I don't want his apology. I want to know what happens now. Grandpa nodded slowly, his expression harder than I'd ever seen it. Christopher, you have 30 days to return that $48,000 to Marissa's account. 30 days. Pops, I don't have. Then you better figure it out. My mother stood up suddenly, her chair scraping loud against the hardwood. She'd been quiet too long processing, and now something had shifted in her face. The tears were gone, replaced by a cold clarity that made everyone nervous. Lillian, Dad started, but she held up one hand. 26 years, Christopher. I've been your wife for 26 years. I gave you 2 beautiful children. I supported your career when you wanted to leave the family business and start your own firm. I defended you to my friends, my family, even your father when they said you were making mistakes. Her voice was steady, measured, deadly. I ignored the late nights, the work trips, the unexplained charges because I convinced myself that you'd never actually disrespect me and our vows. She walked around the table, grabbed her purse from the side table. But stealing from Marissa? From our daughter? That's not a mistake, Christopher. That's a choice. That's you deciding that your mistress matters more than your own child's future. Where are you going? Dad's voice held panic now. To my sister's house. Don't call me. Don't text me. I'll have my attorney contact you on Monday about separation papers. She looked at Alea. And you took money to help him betray this family. You're 25 years old, but you're still my child, and I'm disappointed in a way I can't even put into words right now. Alea's face crumpled. Mom, I'm sorry. Sorry means you wouldn't do it again. But would you? If he offered you money tomorrow to lie for him, would you? The silence was damning. Mom nodded once, lips pressed tight. That's what I thought. Aunt Carol stood. Lillian, let me drive you. She shot her brother a look of pure disgust. Christopher, I always thought you were better than this. After Mom, Aunt Carol, and Uncle James left, a strange calm settled over the remaining wreckage of Easter brunch. Logan closed his laptop and looked at Dad with an expression that aged him beyond his 17 years. I've been saving this for the right moment, Logan said quietly. Didn't think it would be today, but here we are. He pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, then turned it toward Dad. Remember when you borrowed my car last month? Said you needed it because your Audi was in the shop. Dad's face went pale. Logan, whatever you think. I have a tracker on my car. Basic safety thing since I'm a new driver. This shows you drove to that apartment complex on the east side. 3 times in 2 weeks. Logan's voice was matter-of-fact, but I could see his hands shaking. You've been using your 17-year-old son's car to visit your mistress while your daughter who actually needs transportation, takes the bus. I felt something break inside me. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just a quiet fracture like ice cracking under pressure. You borrowed Logan's car to see her, I repeated, needing to say it out loud to believe it. While I was standing at bus stops at 5 in the morning for early shifts. Alea finally spoke, her voice small. I didn't know about that part. Oh, now you draw a line? Logan's laugh was bitter. You took $5,000 to cover for him, sis. You don't get to act shocked now. Grandpa Bernard looked at his son with an expression that made me want to cry, disappointment so profound it seemed to age him before my eyes. Christopher, I built everything I have so my family would never struggle. Your mother and I, his voice caught. Your mother died hoping you'd be the man she raised you to be. Don't bring Mom into this, Dad said weakly. She's already in it. She'd be ashamed. My phone buzzed during the heavy silence. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Hello. Is this Marissa Howard? A woman's voice, nervous and young. Yes, who's this? My name is Angela. Angela Preston. I think we need to talk. The room went silent. I put the phone on speaker, my hand steady despite the trembling in my chest. You're calling me at Easter brunch. With my family. After you took a trip to Hawaii that my father paid for with money meant for my car. This should be interesting. I didn't know, she said quickly. I swear to God I didn't know about the car. Christopher told me the Hawaii trip was from his bonus. He said, she paused and I heard her crying. He said he was separated. He said the divorce was almost final, he was just waiting for paperwork. Logan snorted. Classic. Angela, I said, my voice cold as winter. I don't care what he told you. But since you're on the phone, tell me something. Did he pay your rent this month? Silence. Then quietly, yes. And last month? Yes. For how long? 2 years. Her voice broke. But I thought he was separated. I just found out today that he's still married. I saw the Easter photos on Facebook. Your mom posted them. His wife. The wife he told me he was leaving. He was crying harder now. I'm so sorry. I'm 28 years old, I should have known better, but he was so convincing and I... Stop, I interrupted. I don't need your life story. But I need you to know something. You're not special. You're not different. If he did this to his wife of 26 years to his own daughter, what do you think he'll do to you? I already ended it, she whispered. I called him an hour ago and told him never to contact me again. The next 4 weeks were brutal. Dad tried everything, calling, texting, showing up at my apartment. I blocked him everywhere. Mom filed for separation and the divorce proceedings started with a viciousness that surprised everyone. Turned out Dad had hidden assets, secret accounts, a whole financial life nobody knew about. Mom's attorney, a shark named Mrs. Richardson, tore through everything like a hurricane. Aliyah tried to apologize 17 times. I counted. Each time, I reminded her that she'd valued $5,000 more than her sister's well-being. Eventually she stopped trying. Logan moved in with Mom. He stopped talking to Dad entirely. A man who'd steal from his daughter and lie to his son isn't a man I need in my life, he told me over coffee one Saturday. At 17 he'd developed a moral clarity that put most adults to shame. Grandpa Bernard kept his word. On day 29 he called me. Marissa, baby girl, your father hasn't produced the money. I didn't think he would, I said honestly. I'm cutting him from my will. Everything that would have been his goes to you, Logan, and your mother now. Aliyah gets nothing, she made her choice. His voice was firm but sad. And I'm buying you that car myself. Going to the dealership tomorrow. Grandpa, you don't have to. Yes, I do. You deserved it 8 months ago. You deserve it now. He paused. Your grandmother would have handled this differently. She'd have knocked sense into Christopher with her wooden spoon. But since she's not here, I'm doing what I can to make this right. I cried then. Ugly crying that I'd been holding back for weeks. I miss Grandma. Me too, baby. Me too. The Lexus was delivered 3 days later. Midnight blue, leather interior, every safety feature. It should have felt like victory. Instead it just felt sad. 6 months later, I sat in my new car outside the hospital where I'd just finished a successful shift as a certified physician assistant. The program I'd almost lost because of bus schedules. The future I'd almost sacrificed because my father valued his mistress more than his daughter. Logan was in college now, thriving. Mom was dating a kind man who owned a bookstore and treated her like she was made of gold. Grandpa Bernard's health was declining, but he smiled more now. Said he felt lighter without carrying Christopher's mistakes. Dad had lost everything. His business struggled after word got out about the affair and the theft. Angela's testimony in the divorce proceedings destroyed any remaining credibility he had. He lived in a small apartment downtown, worked security at a mall, paid child support and alimony that left him with barely anything. Aliyah reached out last week. Marissa, please. Can we talk? I'm in therapy now. I understand what I did was wrong. But understanding and undoing are different things. The sister I'd trusted was gone, replaced by someone who'd chosen blood money over blood loyalty. I started the car, the engine purring to life. This vehicle represented more than transportation. It represented the price of betrayal, the cost of choosing passion over principles, the weight of decisions that echo through families like grenades. I'd wanted this car for 8 months. I'd fought for it, exposed lies for it, watched my family implode around it. But sitting here now, successful and independent and moving forward, I realized something profound. The car was never the point. The point was discovering who people really are when money and desire cloud their judgment. My father, my sister, they'd shown me their true selves. And sometimes the most painful gift is clarity. I drove away from the hospital toward my own apartment, my own life, built on my own terms. Behind me, the ruins of what we'd been. Ahead, the uncertain but honest road of what I'd become. And if you've made it this far in my story, here's what I want you to take away. Family isn't just blood. It's loyalty, integrity, and choosing to do right even when it costs you something. The people who truly love you will sacrifice for your dreams, not steal them to fund their own desires. My car runs perfectly, but the cost of obtaining it was a family I can never repair. Some prices are too high, even for a midnight blue Lexus. If this story resonated with you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Drop a comment below sharing your own experiences with family betrayal. Sometimes knowing we're not alone makes the healing possible. And if you know someone going through something similar, share this video with them. We're all just trying to navigate this complicated thing called family, one painful truth at a time.